Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday and welcome to the Daily. How are you guys doing on this? Well, it's a beautiful Tuesday morning here in Des Moines, Iowa. It is going to be a whopping 72 degrees from 95 or 96 2 days ago. The weather change here in the fall, now that it is fall, is super crazy. How are you guys doing this morning? What's going on in your world? I would love to hear from each one of you. If you guys could say hi and maybe where you guys are joining with me from. City, good morning, Chels. City, state, what's going on in your world. And if you have any prayer requests, I would love for you to put those in the chat box. We'd love to be praying with you and joining with you on this journey and what's going on in your life. Today, I want to talk about healthy communication. Now, sometimes we think we can be great communicators, but great communication doesn't necessarily mean that you have all the eloquent words or speech or all of that kind of stuff, or you've laid out your points and all that kind of stuff. Good morning, Ben. But it actually also means that the other person that's in the conversation, because when you're communicating, there needs to be more than one person. When there's more than one person in that conversation, the other person has to receive what it is that you're talking about. And what I mean by that is, if we look at tennis as signs of a healthy communication, when the volley is going back and forth and the person is receiving and returning the ball, that is, if we look at communication, maybe in getting a picture of what good communication is when someone can volley back to you. If there is no volley back, then I would say the communication is broken. And realizing that that there's two people in the communication, and there's different communication styles, just like there's different personality types, which I know in today's age, personality tests and assessments are huge. Not just in leadership or personal development, but also in the workplace. Is to figure out how, what type of leadership, what type of personality you have, to see if you're going to mix and join in and be able to have a healthy relationship or business or working relationship with the people that you are with. And so the same with communication is we need to learn how to have healthy communication in our relationships, whether it's a work relationship with our children, with our spouses, with our, friends and family, and etc., to be able to volley back and forth in regards to communication. Healthy communication is key to growing as an individual and as a leader. Whether you're a business owner or you're, a parent in a household or whatever you're doing, good, healthy communication is key to personal growth in our life. If you communicate clearly and effectively and do what you say, people will trust you enough to listen to you. Now, there's communication in the person that is talking and their body expressions and movement, but there's also communication and there's also listening. So that's part of communication. Talking, you're not just what you're saying, but also your body language, and then also listening, being an active listener. I love what Colossians 4:6 says, and this is in the New Testament, and I'm going to read it out of the New Living Translation. It says this: "Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer every man." I love this because really what it's talking about is being able to filter what you're saying before you're saying it, and not just the words that you use, but actually the way, the tone in which you talk, your body language in which you're, sharing, what you're saying, the words in which you're using. Good morning, Paula. And being able to communicate clearly in that way. If I have a grumpy face on and I'm trying to say loving or encouraging things, well, that's going to give, opposing feelings or thoughts or reception to what it is that I'm saying. So my husband has helped me over the years to work on not furrowing my eyebrows and looking so intense when I'm talking, because when I get into work mode, it is super hard for me to, really change my face because I'm just like super intense, and I'm just like the way that I talk, my body language, and my facial expressions say one thing and my words are saying something completely different. So I want people to receive what it is that I'm saying in the way that I'm saying it, so there can be good, healthy communication. Now, there's a couple of different things that a couple of different points that I want to leave us here today. Yeah, that's right, Jared. I do have a good husband. He's a great trophy husband too. Great arm candy, all of that kind of stuff. If you guys didn't see his post the other day, which was super funny, that's what I was referencing to. But a couple of points I want to make about healthy communication is: do I really hear what others are saying? Are you always trying to have a response or get your words out or your feelings out and your opinions out, and not listening to what someone else is saying, and really listening to hear and to understand, not just to respond? I think that is super important. When in conversation, listen. Try repeating back or summarizing what a person just told you. This communicates that you heard them, you understood them, and you have respect for what they are saying. I know it can be frustrating sometimes when you are trying to communicate and someone is asking you questions. But honestly, if you think about it, if they're clarifying questions because they really want to understand, it is going to help your communication. And so they can understand you and you know how you're communicating. Because my husband and I, we've been together for a really long time, and it's been an adventure. It's been awesome. We've had our ups and downs. We've had, strong communication moments and unhealthy communication moments. I remember one time, our oldest son, Anthony, we were in Kelso, and we were actually pastoring together. And he told us, you guys have a great relationship at home, but your work relationship is terrible. And, the way that you guys communicate with each other is not good. I mean, he said different words, obviously. Good morning, Eric. But it really helped us to understand, okay, you know what? We really need to change the way that we talk to each other and really listen and understand and respect each other in what is going on. So do I really hear what others are saying? Or am I just waiting for that pause so then I can share my feelings and my thoughts and make sure that I'm heard, instead of letting that other person be heard and understanding? So healthy communication really is listening to what others are saying and then using wisdom when we are communicating. And what do I mean by that? Is wisdom allows us to know when to speak up and when it is better to remain silent. I know some of us buttoning our lip, zipping it sometimes is so hard because we are outward processors and outward communicators. But can I tell you, good morning, Trudy, but can I tell you, sometimes it is better to keep our mouths closed and not say anything than to always have something to say. The last word isn't always the best. If we lack such wisdom, the Bible tells us to ask God for it and it will be given to us. And so do I really hear what others are saying? So healthy communication really isn't just about what I'm saying, but am I really hearing what others are saying? Am I communicating clearly so other people can get it? Jared and I talk different languages. And I don't mean we speak different languages. Sorry, we both speak English very well, but we don't communicate in the same way and receive in the same way. So there are times that we have to change the way that I have to change the way that I'm communicating, so then my husband understands what I'm saying and vice versa. And I think it is so important that we really understand the other person and we become people studiers so we can have greater relationships with those that God has brought into our life. So do I hear what others are saying? Am I communicating so others understand? And am I using wisdom? Do I know when to say something and when not to say something? I want to close with this. Words are significant, but body language also matters in showing respect for others. Dr. Albert, I can't pronounce his last name, reveals that 7% of a message, this is crazy, 7% of a message is communicated through words. If you're a great orator and communicator and exhorter, can I tell you only 7% of your words, good morning, Ashley, is communicated through your words. 38% is conveyed by voice and tone, which is something that I'm consistently working on. And 55%, and the remaining 55% is communicated through facial expressions, gestures, and postures. Wow. Honestly, when you break it down like that, it really helps us that we could be better and healthy communicators by what we say, how we say it, when we say something, and then also our posture, our body expressions, and our facial expressions matching the words and the tone in which we are trying to use. I hope this has encouraged you today. And I would love for you to share, to invite others into this daily conversation as we continue to grow and walk this out together in our life. And also, if you have prayer requests, put that in the chat box. We'd love to hear from you, pray with you, connect with you, and engage with you. And I want to leave us with this before I close in prayer. How can your words and nonverbal communication today breathe life into someone else? I'm going to repeat that one more time. How can your words and nonverbal communication breathe life into someone else today? God, we thank you so much, God, for your grace in our life. God, we thank you so much for what you're doing. You're challenging us. You're changing us. You're molding us and shaping us, God. And I thank you that you're making a way where there seems to be no way. You're guiding us. You're directing us, and you're leading us, God, by your still small word, God, by your grace, God. And we just thank you so much for all that you're doing in and through us. God, help us today, God, to grow in our communication, God, to have healthy communication with those that are in our life, friends, family, spouses, children, co-workers, God, people that we meet in the store as we go about our day. God, help us to be good communicators, knowing when to say something, when not to say something, and to have our words seasoned with salt and grace, God, in our body gestures and our facial expressions, God, to communicate what it is that we're saying and how we're saying it. God, I thank you that you're helping us and you're challenging us and you're growing us today. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you guys so much for joining with me today on the daily. I can't wait to see you tomorrow right here. It's going to be 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern Standard Time. And I don't know the rest of it around the world, but can I tell you that I'm super excited for what God is doing at Hope City Church and in and through each one of our lives. And please reach out to us if you have prayer requests or you would like to engage or connect with us in any way. You guys have a great Tuesday.